There's one question that I've started to live by ever since I've heard it be asked. And it's, can you stay consistent long enough to win? Because if we're being honest, bro, there's been many times where we've probably started something and we gave up before we seen that thing work out. Or we gave up even faster and we gave up before it even had a chance to work out. Whether it be our New Year's resolutions on January 1st of every year, whether it be starting to go to the gym, whether it be starting to eat better, whether it be starting a content creation journey, whatever that might be for you, we've been there before. But you didn't give up because you weren't capable, because you're more than capable. You can achieve anything you put your mind to, but you probably gave up because the results that you wanted were taking longer than you expected. Or the outcome didn't happen when you wanted it to happen or when you planned it would happen. Or maybe you simply just woke up one day and this motivation that you had, or this drive that you had, this inspiration that you had was gone. So you stopped. You gave up, you quit. Not because you didn't have the talent, because you had the talent. Not because you didn't have the time, because you had the time. But it's because you have a consistency problem. It's not about talent, it's not about time, it's about consistency. And consistency is the main thing that separates you from either being good or being great. That separates you from either being successful or not. It's consistency. So the question you got to ask yourself is not, are you capable? Because you are. But you got to ask yourself, can you be consistent long enough to see everything you've been working on play out how you want it to play out? Can you stay consistent long enough to win? Because like I tell you all the time, bro, motivation is not always gonna be there. Motivation is an emotion, and emotions are temporary. So it's gonna come, it's gonna go. Some days it's gonna be there, some days it's not. Some nights it's gonna be there, some nights it's not. But consistency is a choice that you make every single day. A choice that you make to show up. A choice that you make to put the work in. A choice that you make to go grind even when you might be tired. Because I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna get tired of it sometimes, bro. There's gonna be days where you're not motivated. There's gonna be days where you're not inspired. There's gonna be days where you just don't feel like putting the work in. And that's when that motivation is gone. But it's up to you to make the decision of being consistent or quitting because you don't have the motivation. Being consistent or giving up because you're not inspired to do the work today. You're not always gonna be inspired, bro. You gotta be consistent every single time with everything that you're doing. And you gotta stay consistent long enough to see yourself win. Long enough to see everything work out how you wanted it to work out. Like, be consistent. And while you're being consistent, don't compare yourself to anybody, because comparisons cause you to quit as much as that motivation fleeing does. People can't stay consistent because they're constantly in comparison with everybody else. That's why we put time limits on results. That's why we put time limits on outcomes, because we see everybody else doing what they want to do in life. We see everybody else being successful. We see everybody else growing and making progress. And we always wonder, when is it going to be our time? When is our outcome going to happen? When are these results that I'm working towards going to happen for me in my life? But you got to get out of that, bro. You got to stop comparing yourself and just be consistent. Just continue to show up every day. Continue to put the work in. Because at some point, those results are going to happen. At some point, the outcome is going to come. There's no other choice. But you got to understand, you got to realize that everybody's path is different. Everybody's plan is different. Everybody's timing is different. Your plan is not that person's next to you plan. Your path is not the same as the person you're watching on social media. Your timing is not the same as anybody in this world. So why not just focus on you, and why not just focus on being consistent in the way that you need to be consistent to see everything work out? And I know it gets hard. There's times where we put the work in and we see nothing happening. We don't see the progress. We don't see the growth. We don't see anything. We don't see any type of result. But as much as you may not see it, and you don't got to believe me, but even if you may not see it, I promise you something is being built. I promise you something is happening. Because every time you put work in, you're getting a little bit better if it's not anything. You're getting a little bit better. But many people stop and give up before the evidence of growth or before the evidence of progress arrives. Like, why? Just because you can't see the growth, you think it's not happening? Have you ever seen how bamboo grows? Bamboo grows underground without anybody seeing it for 5 years. 5 years. But once it breaks the surface, it grows up to be 90 feet in 5 weeks. 5 years it grew underground. Nobody knew it was growing. Nobody knew it was happening. But then it broke surface and grew to be 90 feet in the span of 5 weeks. Why give up before you see yourself break the surface? Why give up before you see everything work out how you want it to work out? Why give up before the results show themselves? Like, just because you might not see it right now, just because you may not see the growth or you may not see the progress doesn't mean it's not happening. Like, something is happening, even if you can't see it. So don't give up before you reach that opportunity. Don't give up before that door opens. Don't give up before the breakthrough happens, because at some point it's going to happen. But that's not up to you though. Like, this is something that I have to think about and have to stay grounded with every single day, especially on this content journey, especially in trying to become a content creator and trying to become an influencer and make this my job. Like, there's days where I post and no growth. There's days where I post to under 20 viewers. There's days where I post and nothing happens. But I've changed my perspective and I've realized that every time that I get in front of this camera and speak, I'm getting better in some way. I'm growing in some way. I'm making progress in some way. And at some point, I'm going to break the surface. But that's not up to me though. All I can do is make the choice to be consistent every day and show up every day. And the work going to play out how it's supposed to play out. The plan's going to happen how it's supposed to happen. But that's according to God. That's not up to us. So every time you show up, bro, that compounds. Consistency compounds over time. It's the compound effect. I talk about it all the time. Those moments where you show up, those moments where you put the work in, it combines and it grows. But as much as the consistency might compound, quitting does too. Every time you give up, when it gets hard, when it gets tough, when you might fail a little bit, when you might experience some adversity, when you might experience some setbacks here and there, that compounds too. Because every time you quit when it gets difficult, you're associating the hard times with giving up. So you make yourself think that it's okay to quit and it's okay to give up when things get hard. So it's going to compound over time. You're training your brain to group difficulty with quitting, difficulty with giving up. But you can flip this though. Every time things might get hard, every time things might not go your way, you can choose to be consistent. You can choose to keep going. You can choose to keep showing up. You can choose to get back up when you might get knocked down. Because even in the difficult times, you can keep going, bro. And when you choose to be consistent in the difficult times is when you start to group the difficulties with being consistent. So giving up ain't even an option anymore. Quitting ain't even an option. Staying down when you get knocked down is not an option. The only option is to keep going. The only option is to keep being consistent, is to keep showing up every day. So let your consistency compound. Not quitting, not giving up, not just throwing in the towel and say, I'll try again next time. Because when it gets difficult again, you're going to give up. So just stay consistent, bro. In everything that you do, make that decision because you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to see your dreams play out, even if it might not happen when you want it to happen. You owe it to yourself to keep showing up every day, even when it might be hard. You know that little kid inside of you that wants to see every dream play out? You won't make that little kid happy if you give up, if you quit. So stay consistent, bro. Stay consistent long enough to see everything work out. But that'll be all for this video, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you like this video, go hit that sub button. We're on the road to 1K subs. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I will see y'all in the next one.